Many companies struggle with their talent acquisition strategy, I guess. And it's because when they think of talent acquisition strategy, they think of all the activities they do, like having a career website, doing employee referral programs, using job ads, do some employer brand and all this stuff. But that's not a talent acquisition strategy. That's something different. I mean, if you really have a strong talent acquisition strategy, you are capable to answer some questions. So here are some questions. For instance, the question, which parts of all talent acquisition activities are critical to the competitive advantage of your company and its long-term success? So what really affects the future of the company of all those things that you do in talent acquisition? I mean, that's a big question. The other question is, what are major challenges in talent acquisition and how does your company allocate resources to these challenges? So as a talent acquisition manager, you should be able to say, okay, what is the biggest pain, really? What are the biggest challenges? And then comes the question related to the given challenges and goals. What are key approaches in talent acquisition? So that's the question of what are you doing now? And then comes the question, how are those key approaches strategically aligned given the internal cultural and structural context? So in other words, how do you do the things so that they really fit to how we are? I guess for many of you and for many companies, these are big questions, and I would really question if everybody would be capable to answer these. But it's quite simple, and let me guide you real quick to how you set up a talent acquisition strategy. So here is a very important analysis. And you see on the horizontal axis, strategic relevance as a dimension. The question is, if you look at your demand in the future, the people, the functions you want to fill, the jobs that you want to fill, where do you need the best and where do you need the good? Where do you need the best? Where do you need the good? The best means high strategic relevance. You need the best. You don't want the best for everything. That would make no sense. It would be ridiculous and too expensive. For some demand, talent availability is pretty high, so hiring is simple. Yeah? There are enough people out there who are looking for a job, but for some other demands, availability is low. So it means it's very difficult to hire people. And for some functions and jobs, you have a big demand, or we can also say a big volume or a small volume. So let's look at this picture, and you will see that there are different scenarios. So here it's a case where, yeah, the need is easy to be met because availability is high and you just need the good, not the best. But here you need the best and just one maybe. And it's very hard to fill this position. Or here, this is a case where it's very hard to fill this position, but it's only one or two. So a little demand, and then you have all the others. So what you really should do is you should now identify different scenarios. And here we are. So this is what we call simple hiring. Simple hiring. That's a very special case, simple hiring. And then we have specialist hiring. That's a completely different scenario. Just one position, very hard to be filled, and you just need a good person, not the best. Then we have what we call difficult mass hiring. Difficult mass hiring. This refers to bottleneck functions. Big volume, much need for the more or less same people, and very difficult to get those people. And then we have what we call strategic hiring. So these are four completely different games, really. You do completely different things. So what you do now is you look at these scenarios and you think of what to do. So here are the four scenarios again. Simple hiring, difficult mass hiring, specialist hiring, and strategic hiring. And now let's look what we do. So for simple hiring, I mean, the best thing you can do is just use job ads. Have your employer branding right, a little bit general employer brand, have a good career website. That's all fine. You don't need to do a lot here. I guess one recruiter can hire maybe 50 full-time equivalent in a year. It's pretty much about efficiency and validity, so that's it. This is what you do here. But with difficult mass hiring, you probably do something different. Here you should really have an employer brand. So meaning if you want to hire many nurses, if you want to hire many truck drivers, if you want to hire many software developers, have a strong employer brand, especially for this particular function. That's massive. So, and job ads, okay, they help, they can support a bit, but they will not make the difference here. Maybe some active sourcing. Active sourcing means really finding the people actively, approaching the people actively. Talent communities is a pretty good idea here. So you have talent pools and you stay in touch with promising software developers, nurses, or whatever. Yeah, you might hire 20 people in a year of this sort. And you need some line engagement. You really should do some referral programs and such things on a very broad scale. So here it's pretty much about effectiveness and scale. But with specialist hiring, yeah, have a job-specific employee value proposition. Yeah, in the job ad, you have to tell why this is a great job. The job ads per se do not help much, but you might need them. Here you do active sourcing. Really, you go to LinkedIn or somewhere else and you find the people, talk to the people. Maybe you use some executive search consultancy, and of course you actively engage the teams, the manager, the employees to find the right person. Here it's really about effectiveness. And finally, with strategic hiring, that's another game. It's really, you need the best, you need just one person. It's extremely hard. You look globally, maybe you can do it by your own with active sourcing, but here, that's the case where you use executive search. You do not many of these things over the course of a year, and line engagement happens primarily on C-level with the CEO, for instance. And here it's not about efficiency, not at all. It's primarily about excellence. So what you see here on this picture, this is what I would call a talent acquisition strategy. So you better have this, really. You better have this. And how can you create this? I mean, that's a workshop. That's a one-day exercise where you really look at the different scenarios and look, okay, what are we doing where? I cannot assume that you do a professional talent acquisition without having something like this. So better think of this.